Chosen one, check this video first, then check your bank account. Payment is huge. Something powerful is rising around you. Something that feels like an inner deposit, an energetic breakthrough, a spiritual credit being released into your life. You may not see the full reflection of it physically yet, but you can feel it. The energy around you has shifted. There is a heaviness lifting, a clarity forming, a sense of expansion that is beginning to move from the inside out. You feel like something is coming, something big, something meaningful, something aligned. It feels like you are being prepared for a moment that has been a long time in the making, a moment where everything begins to rise in ways you didn't expect. Before we go deeper, Chosen One, stay with this message until the end. The insight within these words reflects the elevation unfolding inside you right now. And write your warmest wishes and 144 in the comments, anchoring your intention and aligning your energy with the flow rising around you. This is the only paragraph where wishes will be mentioned. From this point forward, the message will focus entirely on the transformation that is preparing you for abundance in all forms. Now, Chosen One, press the hype button, like this video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and let's start. Chosen One, you may have noticed recently that your internal relationship with receiving has changed. You are no longer operating from the version of yourself who felt undeserving, hesitant, or fearful of expansion. You can feel the old resistance weakening. You can feel the old doubts dissolving. You can feel the old beliefs loosening their grip, as if life itself is guiding you toward a new emotional posture, one where receiving feels natural rather than foreign. This shift did not happen overnight. It has been forming slowly through every moment of healing, reflection, surrender, and self-discovery. And now, you are finally stepping into the season where your inner work begins to create outer ease. There is a new alignment moving through your energy, Chosen One. You may find yourself feeling more grounded than ever before. Even in moments of uncertainty, there is a calm in your spirit that was not there in your previous seasons. You function from a deeper place now, a place of trust, maturity, and internal steadiness. You no longer panic at the first sign of disruption. You no longer spiral at the first sign of delay. You no longer collapse under pressure. Instead, you breathe, you observe, you realign. This emotional groundedness is a sign that you are becoming someone who can hold greater blessings without destabilizing. You may also notice that your sense of worth has drastically shifted. Where you once questioned whether you deserved good things, you now understand that worthiness is not something you earn. It is something you remember. You are beginning to remember who you are. You are beginning to remember what you carry. You are beginning to remember that your spirit was never created for lack, fear, or stagnation. As this remembrance grows, so does your capacity to receive without guilt, hesitation, or self-sabotage. You are stepping into a version of yourself who no longer doubts their right to be supported, uplifted, elevated, or blessed. Chosen One, this inner evolution is also revealing itself through your intuition. Your inner voice is speaking louder than before, guiding you with clarity rather than confusion. You feel the difference between alignment and misalignment more easily. You can sense when something is meant for you and when it isn't. You can feel when a path opens and when a path closes. This intuitive sharpness is part of the energetic payment being released into your life, a deposit of wisdom, discernment, and inner direction that will guide your steps toward opportunities that resonate with your future. This shift may have also changed the way you perceive effort, work, and progress. You are no longer driven by desperation or fear. You are no longer pushing yourself to your limits out of insecurity. You are no longer forcing outcomes that are not aligned. Instead, you are learning to move with flow rather than pressure. You engage with what feels aligned. You release what feels forced. You allow instead of insist. You receive instead of chase. This ease-filled approach is not laziness, it is alignment. It reflects a deeper truth. Abundance flows where resistance dissolves. Chosen one, the energetic deposit you are receiving is also manifesting as clarity. You may feel more certain about your direction, even if you cannot see the entire path. You may feel more connected to your purpose, even if you are still uncovering its details. You may feel more committed to your growth, even if you haven't yet seen the full results. This clarity is worth more than any material blessing. It becomes the foundation upon which abundance can settle in your life without chaos, confusion, or instability. You might also feel an increase in self-respect rising within you. You no longer tolerate environments that drain you. You no longer entertain people who diminish your value. You no longer participate in cycles that betray your intuition. Your energy has become more selective because your spirit is preparing for expansion. You are no longer interested in anything that disrupts your peace, dulls your intuition, or delays your elevation. This selectiveness is not a loss, it is protection. It creates space for blessings that were unable to reach you before. Chosen one, this season is revealing how much you've grown emotionally. You may find yourself responding to challenges with a calm certainty that surprises even you. You are learning that emotional stability is the true foundation of abundance. When you are grounded, opportunities can flow to you without chaos. When you are steady, intuitive clarity becomes more accessible. When you are emotionally mature, what once felt overwhelming now feels manageable. This emotional evolution is part of the huge payment unfolding inside you, a wealth of inner strength. You may also find yourself inspired in ways you haven't experienced in a long time. Ideas come suddenly. Imaginations open freely. Visions of possibility appear without force. This is because your creativity is awakening. Creativity is a sign that your mind has moved out of survival mode and into expansion mode. When creativity awakens, opportunities follow. When imagination opens, direction becomes clear. Inspiration is the language of abundance speaking through you. Chosen one, you may even feel an inner separation from the identity you once carried, the identity rooted in fear, scarcity, or self-doubt. You no longer resonate with that version of yourself. You no longer feel tied to the patterns you once repeated. You no longer feel aligned with the emotional states that used to define you. This separation is not emptiness, it is elevation. It is the release of everything that cannot accompany you into your next chapter. As you continue rising, you will notice a shift in the way you interpret challenges. They no longer feel like punishment. They feel like preparation. They no longer feel like endings. They feel like recalibrations. You understand now that growth often comes disguised as discomfort, and yet you move through it with more grace than ever before. This new emotional posture attracts opportunities that require strength, not fragility. Chosen one, your internal world is becoming fertile ground for abundance. You are becoming someone who is capable of receiving without fear. Someone who can hold blessings without losing themselves. Someone who can elevate without collapsing. Someone who can expand without resisting. This is what the huge payment truly represents. A massive transfer of strength, clarity, worth, intuition, resilience, and emotional maturity into your spirit. Your life is not shifting accidentally. Your energy is not rising randomly. Your spirit is not awakening without purpose. Something meaningful is unfolding in you, and this message is simply making you aware of what your soul already knows. You are entering a season where the blessings that once felt impossible now feel inevitable. Chosen one, as this energetic elevation continues moving through your life, you may begin sensing a deeper separation from the emotional weight that once held you down. What used to feel heavy now feels lighter. What used to feel impossible now feels manageable. What used to intimidate you now feels like an opportunity to rise. This shift is not accidental. It is part of the internal credit being deposited into your spirit. You are being strengthened from the inside out, and this strength is preparing you to experience life from a place of confidence rather than fear. You are no longer navigating your path from survival mode. You are navigating from alignment. You may also begin noticing subtle changes in the way you think about your future. Instead of expecting disappointment, you sense possibility. Instead of preparing for struggle, you prepare for expansion. Instead of assuming loss, you anticipate growth. This new mental space feels unfamiliar at first, almost like stepping into a room with more light than you're used to. But your spirit adapts quickly because this brightness aligns with your true identity, the identity you were always meant to step into. This mental shift is part of your energetic deposit. It is a wealth of renewed expectation, hope, and belief in what is possible for you. Chosen one, your emotions may also be stabilizing in ways you didn't expect. You no longer feel overwhelmed by experiences that once consumed you. You no longer lose yourself in waves of panic or doubt. You no longer react impulsively when pressure appears. Instead, you respond with patience, clarity, and grounded awareness. This emotional shift is a sign that your inner world is maturing, becoming more balanced, more secure, and more aligned with abundance. Emotional stability is a form of wealth, one of the most valuable deposits you can receive because it transforms the way you move through every situation. You may also notice that your inner voice has become more direct. It guides you with clarity, nudging you toward alignment and away from anything that disturbs your peace. You can feel when something is not meant for you, even before you fully understand why. You can sense when something is in harmony with your path, even if it doesn't make logical sense yet. This intuitive clarity is part of the payment being released into your life, not a transaction, but a transformation. A rising ability to trust your inner knowing without hesitation. Chosen one, your energy is also becoming more selective. You may feel naturally pulled away from chaotic environments, unbalanced relationships, and emotionally draining conversations. Not because you are withdrawing from life, but because your spirit is protecting its elevation. The version of you that once tolerated anything is fading. The version of you that once accepted mistreatment is disappearing. The version of you that once ignored your intuition is dissolving. You are stepping into a higher level of energetic awareness, and that awareness shields your abundance from being disrupted or misdirected. You may find that your priorities are shifting in subtle but meaningful ways. What mattered to you before no longer carries the same weight. You feel drawn toward purpose, clarity, balance, growth, and emotional nourishment. You are more intentional about how you spend your time and who you allow into your space. You realize that your attention is one of your most valuable resources, and you no longer spend it recklessly. This shift in priorities is a sign that your inner standards are rising. When your standards rise, so do your experiences. Chosen one, you may also begin experiencing moments of sudden inspiration. small sparks of creativity, insight, or direction that appear out of nowhere. These inspirations feel like tiny breakthroughs, like pieces of a puzzle clicking into place. They often come when you are calm, when you are focused, or when you are simply allowing life to flow. This inspiration is not random. It is a sign of internal openness. When resistance dissolves, creativity becomes easier. When your energy is aligned, inspiration becomes more accessible. This inspiration is part of your internal upgrade. You may also feel a deeper sense of self-awareness developing within you. You recognize your patterns more clearly. You understand your triggers with more compassion. You see your strengths with more honesty. You acknowledge your growth with more pride. This self-awareness creates space for continued alignment. When you understand yourself, you honor yourself. And when you honor yourself, you attract experiences that match your worth. Chosen one, your relationship with comfort may also be evolving. You no longer cling to familiarity that limits your growth. You no longer fear stepping beyond what is known. You no longer stay small for the sake of feeling safe. Instead, you begin embracing the unknown with a sense of quiet anticipation. You trust that stepping forward will reveal what you need. You trust that growth will carry you. You trust that the universe does not elevate you only to abandon you. This trust itself is a form of energy that pulls abundance toward you. You may even find that your inner dialogue is changing. You speak to yourself with more kindness. You encourage yourself rather than criticize yourself. You give yourself grace rather than guilt. This shift in self-talk is one of the strongest signs that your inner world is rising into a place of ease. A person who speaks to themselves with compassion becomes a magnet for clarity, stability, and opportunity. Chosen one, you may also feel a renewed sense of personal authority. You no longer outsource your decisions to others. You no longer allow external noise to dictate your path. You no longer wait for permission to rise. You decide, you choose, you act. This authority is not aggressive. It is grounded. It is mature. It is steady. It is the kind of authority that comes from years of internal work and quiet evolution. You may also find yourself becoming less reactive and more responsive. You pause before you speak. You reflect before you decide. You breathe before you engage. This calmness is not weakness, it is power. It is evidence that your spirit is becoming rooted, anchored, and emotionally balanced. And emotional balance attracts abundance more naturally than struggle ever could. Chosen one, your transformation is unfolding beautifully. You are becoming someone who can hold more, receive more, sustain more, and rise higher than your past self ever believed possible. This inner shift, this energetic payment, is preparing you for what comes next. Chosen one, as this energetic transformation continues expanding within you, you may begin noticing a powerful shift in the way you carry yourself. You move with more intention now. You speak with more clarity. You hold your energy differently. You're no longer operating from insecurity or uncertainty. You're operating from awareness. You've outgrown the version of yourself who needed reassurance from everyone around you. You've outgrown the version of yourself who questioned every decision. You've outgrown the version of yourself who doubted their future. Now you navigate life with a subtle but unmistakable confidence, the kind that comes from inner stability. This rising confidence is part of the internal deposit that is preparing you for the next stage of your journey. You may also notice that your capacity to receive feedback, truth, and clarity has changed. Instead of feeling defensive, you feel open. Instead of reacting emotionally, you respond thoughtfully. Instead of resisting reality, you accept it with maturity. This emotional evolution is a sign that your spirit has become stronger. It takes strength to receive truth. It takes maturity to reflect without collapsing. It takes wisdom to see feedback as growth rather than criticism. This is the kind of strength that makes abundance easier, because abundance requires emotional stability, not emotional volatility. Chosen one, you may begin sensing an internal cleaning happening, old wounds rising to the surface, old beliefs dissolving quietly, old fears losing their intensity, not in a dramatic, overwhelming way, but in a gentle, natural release. You may find yourself thinking differently about situations that once triggered you. You may feel less attached to emotions that once consumed you. You may notice that your old reactions no longer feel aligned with who you are becoming. This internal cleansing is not random. It is preparation. You cannot receive with fullness if your spirit is still carrying emotional clutter. And right now, that clutter is falling away. You may also feel your sense of gratitude deepening in unexpected ways. Not forced gratitude, not performative gratitude, but genuine gratitude, the kind that arrives when your spirit recognizes how much you've grown. You find yourself grateful for lessons, grateful for clarity, grateful for wisdom, grateful for the strength you didn't know you had. This gratitude expands your energy. Gratitude is one of the strongest magnets for abundance because it aligns your focus with what is possible rather than what is missing. And as your vision shifts, so does your experience. Chosen one, your relationship with uncertainty may also be evolving. Where you once panicked when you couldn't see the future, now you trust the unfolding. Where you once resented the unknown, now you sense potential in it. Where you once clung tightly to control, now you allow flexibility. This new relationship with uncertainty is a sign of maturity. Abundance often comes through paths you did not expect, and only an open spirit can receive what comes without resistance. You are becoming that open spirit, grounded enough to trust, wise enough to wait, and aligned enough to receive. You may also notice that your expectations of yourself are becoming more compassionate. You're no longer demanding perfection from your spirit. You're no longer punishing yourself for not having everything figured out. You're no longer shaming yourself for moments of fear or doubt. Instead, you offer yourself grace. You allow yourself to grow. You understand that evolution is not linear. This compassion toward yourself is a form of internal wealth. It stabilizes your emotions, strengthens your confidence, and softens your spirit so abundance can flow more easily. Chosen one, you may feel a shift in your connection with purpose. You feel drawn toward meaningful work, meaningful experiences, meaningful conversations. You feel more aware of what strengthens your spirit and what drains it. You begin moving toward environments that feel aligned and stepping away from those that feel empty. Purpose does not always reveal itself in dramatic ways. Sometimes it reveals itself in the small things, the things that bring you peace, the things that spark your interest, the things that call you forward. This subtle pull is part of your internal credit, guiding you toward alignment even when you don't have the full picture yet. You may also find that your tolerance for chaos is decreasing. Not because you are sensitive, but because you are growing. Your nervous system is no longer conditioned to accept constant disruption. Your spirit is no longer comfortable in environments that demand your peace. You choose calm. You choose clarity. You choose emotional safety. This shift attracts opportunities that match your new energy, stable opportunities, aligned opportunities, peaceful opportunities. Chaos does not coexist with abundance, and your spirit knows this. That's why it's guiding you away from noise and toward peace. Chosen one, you may begin noticing that your inner vision is expanding. You're seeing possibilities you once overlooked. You're imagining outcomes that once felt unrealistic. You're envisioning a future that is bigger than anything your past self believed possible. This inner vision is not fantasy, it is alignment. It is your spirit showing you what could exist when you truly rise into your potential. The more you see, the more you believe. The more you believe, the more you attract. You may also feel a quiet empowerment rising in your spirit. The kind of empowerment that doesn't need to be announced. The kind of empowerment that isn't loud or aggressive. The kind of empowerment that sits in your posture, your decisions, your presence. You no longer ask for permission to grow. You no longer apologize for having standards. You no longer shrink yourself to make others comfortable. This empowerment is a major part of your internal deposit, the wealth of self-respect, self-knowledge, and self-trust that forms the foundation of true abundance. Chosen one, you may begin realizing that the world responds differently to you now. You speak differently. You move differently. Your energy feels different. People notice your clarity, even if they cannot explain it. They sense your confidence, even if you don't talk about it. They feel your strength, even if you carry it silently. This shift is not accidental. It is the result of every moment you've spent healing, reflecting, evolving, and aligning with a higher version of yourself. You may also feel your relationship with opportunity becoming more natural. You don't chase, you attract. You don't force, you align. You don't panic, you prepare. This natural relationship with opportunity is part of your energetic elevation. It reveals that you're entering a season where what is meant for you will find you without struggle. Chosen one, the huge payment you feel rising is not only a moment, it is a transformation. It is the wealth of clarity, the wealth of inner strength, the wealth of emotional stability, the wealth of intuitive alignment, the wealth of self-belief. These are the foundations that allow all other blessings to flow. Chosen one, as this inner elevation continues shaping you from the inside out, you may begin noticing a shift in the way you perceive your own potential. You no longer see yourself through the lens of limitation. You no longer identify with the doubts that once defined your decisions. You no longer believe the narratives that kept you small. Instead, your awareness is expanding. You see yourself as someone capable, someone worthy, someone evolving, someone rising. This shift in self-perception is a major part of the inner wealth being built within you. When your identity rises, your life rises with it. You may also feel an unexpected clarity about what you want, not in a shallow or impulsive way, but in a grounded, confident, mature way. You no longer desire things simply because they look impressive. You desire what feels aligned, what feels authentic, what feels nourishing. This clarity refines your path, filters your decisions, and shapes your choices. It becomes easier to walk away from things that do not reflect your value, because you now understand that settling is a form of self-abandonment. And you, chosen one, are no longer in the business of abandoning yourself. Chosen one, there is also a new rhythm forming within your energy, a rhythm that feels calmer, more balanced, more secure. Your nervous system is adjusting to peace. For so long, chaos felt normal. Uncertainty felt familiar. Emotional turbulence felt expected. But now, peace no longer feels foreign. It feels rightful. You are learning that peace is not something you must earn through exhaustion. Peace is something that grows naturally within you when you stop resisting your elevation. This new rhythm of calm is part of the payment rising in your spirit, a wealth of internal stability that cannot be shaken by temporary situations. You may also begin recognizing the difference between intuition and fear more clearly. Where fear once disguised itself as caution, intuition now cuts through the noise with clarity. Where doubt once overshadowed your decisions, inner wisdom now takes the lead. You feel the difference instantly. Fear feels heavy, restrictive, tense. Intuition feels clear, light, and quietly firm. This ability to distinguish between the two is a form of spiritual intelligence, a currency of insight that shapes your future more than any material resource ever could. Chosen one, the way you interpret silence may also be changing. Where silence once made you anxious, now it feels like alignment. Where stillness once felt like stagnation, now it feels like preparation. Where waiting once felt like punishment, now it feels like timing. This shift changes everything. You begin trusting the spaces between your breakthroughs. You begin respecting the gap between intention and manifestation. You begin honoring the process without rushing the outcome. This mindset is the foundation of sustainable abundance. Abundance that doesn't crumble, abundance that doesn't confuse you, abundance that arrives in order and clarity. You may also notice that your intuition is guiding you towards simplicity, not minimalism in a physical sense, but emotional simplicity. You feel called to remove unnecessary stress. You feel drawn to relationships that don't drain you. You crave environments that don't confuse you. You desire interactions that don't exhaust you. This simplicity is not a step backward, it's a step upward. The more you simplify your inner world, the more space you create for abundance to settle. Abundance flows more freely into lives that are not cluttered with chaos. Chosen one, you may find that your decision-making has become more precise. You no longer hesitate endlessly. You no longer question yourself through every step. You no longer depend on external approval to move forward. Instead, you trust yourself instinctively. You trust your vision. You trust your evolution. You trust that you've grown into someone who can choose well. This internal strength is one of the greatest wealth upgrades you can receive. A person who trusts their own decisions becomes unstoppable. You may also observe a shift in your emotional boundaries. You no longer feel guilty for protecting your peace. You no longer feel obligated to explain why certain people no longer have access to you. You no longer feel responsible for carrying emotional weight that isn't yours. This boundary shift is a sign that your spirit is reclaiming its authority. Boundaries do not push away abundance, they make room for it. Boundaries do not close doors, they open aligned ones. Chosen one, you may also notice that your inner self-talk has strengthened. When doubt whispers, your spirit now speaks louder. When fear tries to interrupt, your faith rises. When old patterns resurface, your awareness redirects them. This internal conversation is evolving. The voice within you has become kinder, stronger, wiser. You are no longer at war with your past self. You are guiding it toward the future. And this internal harmony creates a stable foundation for the abundance that is forming around you. You may even begin realizing that you are no longer motivated by survival. You're motivated by purpose. And as purpose guides you forward, you step into a version of yourself that feels more authentic, more grounded, more powerful.